Hi, Madison Heights art students. Our next project is a nature photography project, basically in line with our Earth Day project. You're going to need to have a phone with a camera. If you don't have access to a phone with a camera, then you can make sketches. If you do, make sure you have permission to use it. And the other thing is that you're going to be needing to get outside for this project. You can go out in your yard or maybe take a nature walk. So anywhere where you can find nature near your home will be great. So I have a couple tips for you. Number one is to pay attention to the light. Many nature photographers take photos at what's called the golden hour. In photography, the golden hour is the period of daytime shortly after sunrise or before sunset, during which daylight is redder and softer than when the sun is higher in the sky. Now you can take your photograph during that period of time, or you can take it at another time. Just pay attention to the light. The second tip is to find a subject that interests you. So looking outside for interesting textures, colors, shapes, and lines, finding combinations that look interesting, like maybe some flowers next to some branches. Sometimes something you don't expect to be beautiful photographed can surprise you. The most important tip I can give you is to compose your shot. In the visual arts, composition is the placement or arrangement of visual elements such as figures, trees, and so on in a work of art. For nature photography, composition is key. How and where you frame your picture is really important. You might try positioning yourself around your subject in new ways. Take the first photograph, sure, but then start thinking about, could I crouch lower and take a photograph of the same thing? Could I get closer and take a photograph of the same thing? Could I move to the right and take a photograph of the same thing? How would it look different? Is it more interesting? There's something in photography called the rule of thirds, and it's where they break up the composition of an image into thirds, both horizontally and vertically. And this is mainly so photographers don't place their subject always right in the middle. It helps them to think and move their subject off center, as you can see in these images here. Step 4 is to take a lot of pictures. Most photographers take hundreds of pictures before they find one that they really like. You might take 5 or 6 of the same exact subject matter, just slightly shifting where you're standing. And then the next step is to edit your pictures. Choose 1 or 2 that you think are the most visually interesting. For example, on the right here, I think this one is more interesting than the one on the other side, mainly because the lines in it are interesting, and I think the composition is just more dynamic. Once you find a picture that you think is most visually interesting, send it to me, share it. I would love to see it. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with.